Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to take a look at this Sangean ATS 909X Shortwave radio. Some of you may not know anything about Sangean. They're a radio company that makes some really nice shortwave radios. Some on the lower end, some on the higher end. This is more of a mid to higher end radio here. It replaced the older version, which was the ATS 909. This is the 909X. These have been around since about 2011. And a unique story on how I came into possession of this one. One of my favorite thrift shops in town buys storage lockers. And I saw this box, and it comes in a, big, huge, big red box, kind of like the manual, And it had a price tag of 40 bucks on it. And I'm like, that just has to be the accessories it comes with or something. It can't possibly be the radio in there. So I open it up, look inside, there's radio. Wrapped in plastic, brand new. Now keep in mind, these sell for around $250 to $400 online. It's a really wide price range. I have no idea why. They're all the same radio. But they're in the $200 range on Amazon. So right away I knew I was getting the deal if it worked. They let me plug it in because it didn't have any batteries in it. And I had to unwrap it. It still had the plastic, that they put on everything that you have to peel off. I don't think the other thing had ever been turned on. And plugged it in, the thing worked. Looked inside the battery case, no batteries in there. So no batteries had rotted away or anything. And later on, when I got it home and started digging through the case, I found a receipt from Amazon. The gentleman who purchased it in 2012 for 280 bucks. So I definitely got a deal. So anyway, quick theory of mine on shortwave radio for survival and prepping. One of the things I like about it is that it gives you a wide range of information and news. If you're in a situation in the United States where maybe you're not getting the kind of news you want to get, if some kind of huge disaster, and the only people broadcasting are foreign stations, you can listen. I listen to Voice of America often. It's interesting. I listen to a lot of different shortwave broadcasts. So for me to have this, it's kind of a handy tool. Also, the AM and FM bands will give you any information in your local area. So cosmetically, the radio is really nice. There's a really nice feel to it. I mean, when you pick this thing up, it feels expensive. If you've ever held a cheap radio in your hand and then picked up an expensive one, you'll understand what I mean. One of the things I liked, too, was you'll notice these little indentations on the back. And that's so you can hold it. So if you're sitting somewhere and you want to hold it like this, you can do it and it's comfortable. The button pushing is all real positive. You get some good positive feedback from the buttons. The radio itself receives AM and FM exquisitely, unbelievably well. I live in an area where I get one AM station out of Vegas. With this, once it starts getting dark at night, I can pick them up as far as Arizona, New Mexico. I mean, it just booms in all over the place. And that's with just using the internal antenna. The FM reception is great. Sound is really good. All in all, it's a great deal. It's a good radio. I'm going to give you a little specs on it, a little bit of info on it before we get too much further. It's 7.9 inches by 5.3 and 1.5 inches thick. Weighs about a pound 9 ounces, pound 9.8 about. It's got 406 presets. 27 for FM, 9 for long wave, which is your bands below the AM broadcast band. Kind of neat to listen there. There's a lot of utility and digital traffic on that band. 18 for your AM, and 351 for shortwave. Got 5 tuning methods. You can tune it with a direct entry when you push frequency, and you enter the frequency you want and then enter. You can tune it via an auto scan, where you let it just scan, and it will scan the bands and stop where the good stations are. You can do a memory recall. It's got a memory, so like I was saying, it's got all those memories. You can hit MR here and it will recall the memory stations in memory, and you can just scroll through them using this. You can use this over here to tune. It spins around. If you want to use it fast or slow, you hit the step button, and that will speed up your tuning or slow down your tuning. So if I hit this once, it'll go really slow tuning. If I hit this fast, it'll move through the shortwave bands real quick. Very handy to have. And you got your up and down tuning methods here. These little buttons here. So let's turn it on. That's your AM station right there. You can hear it's pretty strong. Now, normally, this is not a station that comes in all that great. It kind of comes in a little staticky. That's really good for this station. One of the things that I did do, it does have an external plug for an antenna on the side here, which is nice. It's got an auxiliary in. It's got a record line in and out with a standby, so you can set it to schedule to record. And it's got your attenuator here, so you can have it low for stations that are really strong, and you can turn it all the way up for stations that are weak. It's got the AC adapter. It runs on batteries. I think it's 4 AA's. I forget. It's been a while since I changed the batteries in it. It comes with an adapter. Whoops. Comes with an adapter. Comes with some really nice headphones. As a matter of fact, I had to unplug these from my computer because these are the headphones I use when listening to YouTube videos on my computer. At least I've used them since I bought the radio. It comes with a roll-up antenna, which it did not come with. It's a roll-up antenna that clips on here and unravels, kind of, and unstrands out. And it's about a 35-foot antenna, so somebody got that. It wasn't in the box. No big deal. I made one. I'll show you that in a minute. And it comes with a manual. This manual has, about 50,000 different languages. The actual manual for English is, let's see if I can get the end here. Right about here. So this is your English language. There. That's the instructions in English. So don't think that this is a huge book with tons and tons of instructions. It's fairly simple to use. I'm going to give you a little demo of it on Shortwave. And this also has sideband. I wanted to mention that. Another reason that shortwave radios are kind of important for survival is being able to listen into the ham broadcasts. A lot of times hams will be talking about stuff that you have no idea that's going on. Your local hams may be involved in helping in an emergency situation. International broadcasts, hams talking to each other through disaster relief situations. Many times I have listened into, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I'm pretty much a news junkie on Twitter. I just post news and retweet news. And a lot of the reports that I've gotten on Twitter for, breaking situations like, earthquakes in other countries and such have been off shortwave radio because I'm listening to the hams that are providing relief in those areas. So you got shortwave, you got sideband, you got upper and lower sideband, which is kind of handy. An easy way to remember it is as the band goes lower, you're going to be using upper sideband. As the band goes higher, like if you get into like 14 point whatever, you're going to be using lower sideband. So, pretty simple to figure it out. You can also figure it out by listening to it as well. We're going to turn it on, and I'm going to back out a little bit here so you can see my clip antenna, and I'm going to put it on shortwave. Now, this is the station out of Colorado that you can tell my hand acts as a good antenna. It's the time station. Anyway, this is the clip. This is the antenna I made. It just clips on here. It's a little alligator clip, and I got it up on the wall here, so I don't want to mess with it, so I'm just going to kind of clip it on. Okay, you hear it now. And that's with the antenna clipped to it, and my hands are here, so it's not my hands. You see, you got four bars of signals. So something as simple as that, and I'll give you a look at it. That's your antenna wire with a little alligator clip. You can use any random length of wire, and it will work perfectly. But watch the bars here when I take this off now, because they'll probably drop if you can see them. Can I lean the camera forward so you can see them? Bars go away. The bars come back. So having an external antenna on this is kind of handy, very helpful, really brings in the signals. I've used this outside. Now remember, you're going to have a little bit of background static in here too, because I have my lights on in the studio. Let me turn them off for you. You can kind of see. It has a nice blue LED screen there, a white or blue LED. I can't know if you can tell. Let's see. So it looks nice and it's a little less staticky. You got to remember these are very bright lights and they like to spill RF everywhere. So all in all, I'm pleased with it. I have been using this for quite a while now. Another nice setting on it is you have your audio filter switch on the side. It's kind of like an equalizer. That's the best way I could explain it to somebody who's not a ham person. I'm going to turn it off and unclip this so I can show it to you. Put down the antenna. Over here on the side, you've got your AM, FM, wide and narrow for AM, and your FM, stereo mono. Here's your switch here. This is the audio filter. Now, it filters for news, normal, or music. The news filter, what it will do, and you want that when you're listening to the ham stuff, is it will accent the human voice. So it kind of highlights it. You can hear it a little better. It's good for pulling in stations from far away that might be a little noisy. Normal is good for your regular AM listening, you know, your day-to-day listening. And the last one is the the music feature, which kind of helps the radio out when you're playing, you know, your music at a loud volume. You're in here rocking out to a song, you got it blasting. That's your best bet for your setting for that. So all in all, I'm pleased with it. I haven't really pushed this to the limit. You know, I haven't really gone nuts with it and sat for hours listening to shortwave. But I have used it, and what it did is it replaced in my storeroom. I'm going to bring this old beast out. This was the one I was using. Let's put down the antenna so we don't knock down the lights. This is the one I was using in my my storeroom. It's a great radio. It doesn't do sideband, but it does do shortwave. For those of you who don't understand sideband, you can look it up. It's basically a very narrow banded transmission that hams use, so they're using less of the radio spectrum. If you listen to it on shortwave with an AM receiver, it'll kind of sound whoop, 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 muffled, you know? You can't really make out what they're saying. With the shortwave, it'll put it upper or lower sideband, and with the sideband, I'm sorry, it'll put it on upper or lower sideband, depending on the band in use, and you'll be able to decipher that narrower bandwidth. So it replaced that radio, and I've been really pleased with it. It's done a great job, but like I said, if I paid probably full price for this, I probably would have used it a little bit more as the radio it is, you know. Because I got it so cheap, I tend to use it just as a boombox for my storeroom. But I still use it for shortwave, and when I'm following like ham contests or events or something, I can keep this on in shortwave while I'm rotating stuff out in my storeroom. And I have my little clip antenna, and actually in there I have another antenna that just goes around the edge of the room. I have it tacked up. It's old speaker wire. Works great. So you don't even need a big antenna for this. That wire that I clipped on here with the clippers, that thing is about maybe 20 feet, and I just threw it on the ground out the door. It goes up over the top of a shelf and goes out the door. So I mean, you don't need a huge antenna. You can tack something up in the corners of your room where you want to listen to radio, and you can run a wire around it and paint over it. You wouldn't even know. So anyway, that's the Sangean ATS 909X. This is an excellent option. If you want to connect an external antenna, like say a random length of wire outside of your house, you have a plug here. It's just your usual earphone jack type plug. And there are tons of things online, schematics online, that will tell you how to do that correctly. And you can run the wire out your window, and you have yourself a long wire random length antenna. So it's a great radio. Kind of wanted to use it for a little while to make sure it wasn't a dud, make sure it wasn't junk, mainly because I got it so cheap. But I could definitely recommend it. So thanks for watching, and we will talk to you guys soon. Take care.